to welcome both Mark and Darlinghurst, along with Hayden, to today's assembly. Let's put Well, you're probably wondering why the three houses have been asked to come together, and it's because this year Marist is promoting in each term a particular focus. And we thought that today's gathering would be an ideal opportunity to launch this term's focus, and shortly we'll be introducing a very special guest who will be leading us throughout the assembly with that focus in mind. Boys, this term, Marist is looking at the issue of anxiety and the impact that it can have on people's lives. I want to stress that it is something that many people suffer from. But to move forward, it's important that you find someone to talk to, seek the support you need, but more importantly, the support you deserve. It just so happens that today is also the National Day Against Bullying and Violence, elements in society that can cause anxiety and depression in an individual. Before I invite our special guest to come to the front, we're going to begin with we're going to begin with prayer, and I'm going to ask the service captain, Brett from Darlinghurst, to lead us.
The Bible says, "So don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will have its own worries. Each day has enough trouble of its own." Matthew 6, verse 34. If you're worrying about tomorrow but you can't enjoy today, you miss today's blessings. It's okay to plan for tomorrow, but you have to live for today. Also, when you're always worried about tomorrow, the future gets overwhelming, but God will give you the grace and strength you need when you get there. Right now, you only need enough power for today. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Father, I admit that I've often forgotten that you're with me. I often forgot what you're like. Would you please forgive me for that? I need to get to know you better. I need to get to know your word and your promises better. Help me to put you first in every area of my life. Help me to live one day at a time. Help me to not worry about tomorrow and instead focus on what you're doing in my life right now. I want to trust in you, your promise to take care of every one of my needs. Financial, relational, physical, social, spiritual, and emotional. Help me to trust you more and worry less. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Mary, our good mother. Saint Marshall of Champagne and Mary of the Cross. May we always remember to.
All right, boys, can you hear me down there, sir? Mr. Murray? All right, so boys, what's anxiety? Anxiety is more than just a feeling about feeling stressed or worried. While stress and anxious feelings are a common response to a situation where we feel under pressure, they usually pass once the stressful situation has gone, or the person responsible for the stress is removed from the area. Anxiety is when these anxious feelings don't go away, when they're ongoing and happen without any particular reason or cause. It's a serious condition that makes it hard to cope with daily life. Everyone feels anxious from time to time, but for someone experiencing anxiety, these feelings aren't easily controlled. Anxiety is the most common mental health condition in Australia. On average, 1 in 4 people, that's 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men, will experience anxiety at some stage in their life. In a 12-month period, over 2 million Australians experience anxiety. It's common, but the sooner people with anxiety get support, the more likely they will recover. Today we are honoured to have someone from Beyond Blue who has had experiences with depression and anxiety. After 17 years as an officer in the Victorian Police and the Australian Federal Police, Garry Mills now runs his own business. Garry is a volunteer speaker for Beyond Blue, a national organisation that works to raise awareness about anxiety and depression, reduce the associated stigma, and encourage people to get help. Garry became a Beyond Blue speaker to share his life story of living with depression. He knows it can be distressing and confusing for everyone impacted by mental health condition, including family and friends. Garry's message of hope includes the power of human connection to improve our lives. Garry is a triathlete, competes in Ironman distance events, and was an avid rower. He loves the mountains and snow skiing, time with his family and friends, and enjoys reading while relaxing at home or at the beach. Boys, I'd like you to put your hands together to welcome our guest.
Thanks very much, Tony. Good afternoon, boys. Good afternoon, staff. Thanks for having me here today. It's great to be with you to share this really important message. I was introduced as a police officer for 17 years, that's true, and if anyone doesn't like the police, I'm not there anymore. I left about 5 years ago. But I was a bodyguard for the Prime Minister. That's what brought me to Canberra. I was originally in Melbourne. And as you can imagine, bodyguards meant to be tough, meant to put on that face, meant to be able to deal with anything, go out on those morning walks with the Prime Minister. Anyone remember John Howard? Some of you wouldn't have been born probably when he was Prime Minister. He was our last Prime Minister that actually served a full term. Would you believe it? But we used to go out and it was a really stressful, challenging job. We went around the world, some pretty dangerous places, as well as here in Australia, travelled all over the country, meeting different people. Did a lot of challenging work, a lot of stressful work. Just like being in school, isn't it? And I've got plenty of friends who had similar jobs. I've got mates who were ex-Special Forces soldiers who went over and fought in the Middle East. I've got ex-police, plenty of ex-police, air marshals, people like that, business leaders, professional sports people and ex-international footballers. Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah. All right. Ex-professional footballers, rugby players, people you might know if I said their name. And we've all got something in common. We've all either had or still have a mental health condition. And that could be anxiety, that could be depression, PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. So all these people with these big jobs, challenging jobs, stressful jobs, mental health conditions. So even the big tough guys out there on the footy field over fighting for our country, here in Australia, leading companies, are all have this in common. So it's a lot more common than you think. And for me, as a bodyguard, and then later I did other jobs in the police, then I went on to other things. Throughout that whole episode, I was dealing with my depression at varying degrees. It wasn't always a really bad place to be. It came and went, and when stresses built up, it got a bit worse. So the thing for me was I could go and do those jobs, but nobody knew what was really going on behind the scenes. And I can guarantee there'd be boys and perhaps staff in here who are feeling similar things. They might seem all right, but you never really know what somebody's dealing with. And I'm going to talk about this today and how important it is that we look after our mates. Because our mates are the key, and our families and our loved ones, to getting healthier, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do with mental health condition. We want to get healthier. Just like when you go out on the sporting field, on your bike out there, you fall off, you hurt yourself. You want to get better, don't you? You want to get out there and start kicking the footy around or whatever it is you do, again, as quickly as you can. Well, mental health conditions are the same. But they're invisible, aren't they? Because we don't often see them. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, give you more of an idea of what it's like for somebody with a mental health condition. But more importantly, I'm going to talk about how you can help somebody, how you can help yourself. And one of the key messages of Beyond Blue is how we can break down the stigma. How can we show that it's okay to tell somebody you're not okay? That you're struggling with anxiety, you might be anxious. Just because you're anxious doesn't mean you have a mental health condition. We all get anxious. As Mr. Sullivan said, that's normal, that's a normal part of life. But it's when that really impacts on your life and starts to eat into things you like doing, friends you like seeing, starts really hurting your life, that's when it's, you really do need help. So Beyond Blue, who's heard of Beyond Blue? Put up your hand. Yep. There's other organisations out there, but I'm from Beyond Blue, and there's a wealth of resources on Beyond Blue's website. And they've specifically got a link to youth at Beyond Blue, or youthbeyondblue.org.au. And that's some great information from 12-year-olds to 24-year-olds, specifically for you. Maybe not the staff, they might need to go up a little bit higher. There might be your 24-year-old staff member here, but that's specifically aimed at you, to help you. There's loads of stuff on there. There's apps you can go on to work out, how can I actually talk to my mate if I feel like they're struggling? I don't actually know what to say to them. So there's a check-in app. There's a Brave program which you can go on to help with your anxiety. If you're feeling anxious, you're struggling a bit, go on there and have a look. There's some great tools on there. I know you all love your phones. That's one important part of it. There's lots of stuff on there that can really help you. There's forums, you can go on there and chat rooms. Talk to each other and find out what other people are saying, what's working for them. Because it's very important to know, when I had depression, you can feel really lonely. Even though everybody's around you, you can feel really lonely. So it's really important is recognise that one of your mates is like that, or even your family, your friends outside of school. Just ask them, hey, how you doing? It's so much more powerful than a Snapchat or a text message, that face-to-face. That's how we connect with each other. So Beyond Blue, as well as having tools for you on how to help yourself and help others, it also has a lot of statistics on there. Mr. Sullivan said that 2 million people a year experience anxiety on average. 2 million. 1 million experience depression in any given year. 3 million people a year, and that's just 2 mental health conditions. Beyond Blue focuses on depression, anxiety, and suicide. That's their main focus. There's other groups that will look at other mental health conditions and how you can help each other. But the statistics are staggering. And with a mental health condition, the statistics also say, because who loves stats? I'm not putting my hand up for that one. They actually say that 2 in 4, so about 50% of mental health conditions show up by the age of 14. So this is a really important time for every single one of you. And 3 out of 4 show up by the age of 24. So that's a lot. That's out of people who have mental health conditions. I'm not saying that 2 in 4 of you will have a mental health condition by the age of 14. But that's pretty high, isn't it? So we all know that you're going through a lot at your age. That's why it's really important you know the support out there, not just here in this room, in the school, in your families, but much broader than that at Beyond Blue and other organisations. And suicide's a really important, staggering statistic today too. So you need to really be aware of your mates. If someone's really, really struggling and you're worried about them, speak to somebody. Talk to somebody for help. Don't wait. When I was diagnosed with depression was 2012. That's a few years ago now, but I experienced it for a long time before that. The sort of things that I experienced in a day. I might have a great day. Very rarely. So depression isn't about being sad part of the day and then you're okay, and then, we all have our disappointments. We all get exam results, we all get our favourite footy team loses. If you're a Wallaby supporter, you're probably used to that at the moment. Australian cricket team had a win, that was good, wasn't it? We all get disappointed about things, but it is when you're sad and disappointed for weeks, with anxiety. If you're anxious about an exam coming up, that's normal. If you're anxious about how you're going to go on the sporting field or in a class, or you've got to do public speaking. Who loves public speaking? Cool, great skill. Up the back. Multitask, you can do the audio, visual, as well as public speak. We all get things we're anxious about. That's normal, that's okay. But it's when that lasts for weeks, we start worrying about everything becomes overwhelming. And if we don't talk to people about it, we have to carry that all ourselves. That's really, really difficult. That's where we need that support from each other, from your families, from online. Don't wait. It's okay to be struggling. That's the big message today. I never had this message when I was a kid. But it's okay. Remember 3 million people. Australia's only 26 million people. 3 million people. About 12%. That's just anxiety and depression. And you're not alone. A lot more people talk about it because they want to help people just like you. Just like your friends, your families. 2012, when I was diagnosed with depression, I was in a really bad place. When you cry so much and you've got snot dripping down your face, and you're just sitting there and you don't even know why you're crying half the time. That's the thing you can't explain. A lot of this stuff is within your chemical reactions in your body. There may not be a reason for it. Just because if you're feeling sad, anxious or down, and you can't explain why, that's okay. You don't have to. There's not an answer for everything. I couldn't explain why, and I still manage it today. I'm not recovered. I haven't been cured. I probably never will be. I'll live with it for my life. But that's okay. I've learned so much about it, and I'm able to come out and help people just like you. I remember sitting in my backyard, my little kids, 4 and 6 at the time, running around, and I didn't know what to do. I was crying, I was upset, not capable of doing anything. That's what it's like. That's what it can get like. And Beyond Blue encourages early intervention and professional help. That's doctors, psychiatrists, so we don't have to get to that level, get to the depths of our mental health condition, whether it's anxiety, depression or anything else, before we get help. Because the earlier you actually get help, the better it is, the better the recovery chances, the quicker the recovery chances. I looked at Beyond Blue in 2007 and ticked all the boxes. They got a little tick box on there for mental illness. And I ticked all the boxes that said I had depression. But I didn't do anything about it for 5 years. Until I was really, really in a bad place. I encourage you, don't wait to get to that bad place. And don't let your mates get to that bad place. Look out for each other. So when I went and saw my doctor, It was great. They told me stuff I didn't know. Talked about it. They didn't shoo me away until you're making me son, just get over it. That's the old days, just get over it. It's like, that's not the answer. So then I started recovering. It took me a long time to recover because I've been there for so long. You know what? It gets better. You don't see it when you're really anxious. You don't see it when you're really down. You know, things that you're really worried about. Guess what? You find out when you start getting healthier. You know what? It's not that bad. I'm not saying bad things won't happen to you. That happens to all of us in life. Sometimes we make things worse than what they really are, when we're not coping. Getting help, talking about it, is the step towards getting healthier. Just like going to see the doctor. If you roll your ankle or lose some skin, need stitches, you start getting better. How great's that? The change for me over the last few years has been phenomenal. I would never get up in front of people like this before I got healthy. I was able to do those jobs as a police officer, go out and do what I had to do. But if I had a job where I had to try and, be really social with people, say a salesperson or something, I wouldn't have been able to do that because I just didn't connect with people because I was struggling on the inside and I didn't talk about it. Today, I do this a lot, speak for Beyond Blue. I'm really heavily involved in men's health. I get to go out in outback Queensland, a place that anyone know Dave Shillington, ex-rugby league Australian player. Yeah, Shillo and I went out to outback Queensland to talk to grown men, grown farmers and miners about mental health. It was great. And just like you, they were sitting there going, soaking this stuff up because it's important. They had their mates next to them. They're all looking out for each other. All right, we were doing that over a beer. I'm glad that's not the case today. You can do that when you're a bit older, I guess. But they're the sort of people, Shiller played footy for Australia and was out there talking about mental health and trying to help other people. Great guy. And there's plenty of other guys who have done the same thing. Stephen Moore. So it's okay. It's okay for you to talk about it, and it's okay for you to ask your mates about it. That's what we do. For each other. With my recovery, what are some of the things that work for me? They're not going to work for everybody. I do Ironman triathlons. Anyone know what an Ironman triathlon is? Just to run around the park, isn't it? Takes nearly the whole day to do one. I never did that before. I took up rowing when I started getting healthier. I never did that before. You start to see things and try things and explore life a bit more when you start getting healthy. As I said, when you're unhealthy, it's hard to see it. But it is there, it's just over the, you just need that little bit of support. Whether it's you or your mates, and you can start doing these things that you really enjoy. Give me a microphone and you can't shut me up, unless it doesn't work. No, I love sharing what I've learned over the years with people just like you. To give you hope that, you know what? People are talking about this stuff. Mental health is something that we're trying to help manage. Are we ever going to solve it? I don't think so. But we're so much better at helping each other, helping people recover, helping people look out for each other, because that's the most important thing. Because otherwise, to do it all yourself is really, really hard. And I know Mr. Sullivan mentioned bullying before. Yeah, today's a very special day for saying no to bullying. People who are bullied, they can have a high chance of experiencing a mental health condition. Bullying's not okay. Some people think it's funny, but it's not. It hurts people's mental health. And obviously there's violence as well, physical bullying, and mentally just really hurts people. The statistics are high for people who experience that. So part of that looking out for each other is saying no to bullying, bullying it out. Not accepting it, because it's not okay. So it's very timely that that's today to tie in with peace. One of the other things that I learned from different people is different things work for different people. Anxiety, for instance. When we get really anxious about things, we can do. Anyone got anything that they do when they feel a bit anxious about an assignment or deadline, or you've got to tell mum and dad something? Anyone going to put their hand up? Yeah, pretend to be sick and have a day off school. I've had that one asked before. Sometimes they have mental health days at work. Workplaces will have mental health days. If people take a day off work, at least not struggling mentally, they recognise you don't have to have a physical illness to not be able to go to work. They want to read a book, take your mind off it, yeah, it's a great idea. Come back. Relax. What do you like? Oh, if you mind relaxing, yeah, something else. Yeah, great idea. Take your mind somewhere else. This one. Pretend you don't. Pretend you don't have an assignment to do. How long does that work for? The teacher goes, either assignments like, it could be exercise, it could be talking with your mates, watching a game of footy, having a sleep, doing a crossword, playing a game on your phone. There's lots of different things you can do, and different things are going to work for different people. That's why whenever I speak to somebody who might be struggling a bit, and I've got mates that we connect, we have our circle of friends where we are managing mental health conditions. As I said, ex-special forces soldiers, ex-police, we talk to each other, we look after each other, but what works for me isn't necessarily going to work for them, so I don't tell them what they have to do. We get together, we have a chat, and I listen. That's a really important part. So when you identify that somebody's struggling, well, they're not quite themselves, maybe they're not hanging out with their mates so much, maybe they're a bit withdrawn, not talking as much, they might be generally really happy and funny, but they're really quiet. You notice a change in behaviour. You look and you notice that. And then you just go and ask them, how you going? I notice you're not yourself. Is everything okay? Can I do anything? And just listen. I know for me, when I talk about things when I'm struggling, it makes it so much better because I'm not carrying all of it, I'm actually sharing it. And then if you need to, seek help together. It might be a teacher, it might be another friend, it might be a parent. Might be professional help they need. You're not quite sure. You might go and look at Beyond Blue's website together. But doing it together is really helpful because you don't feel like you're doing it alone. And when you do that, see where it leads. You don't know where things are going to lead. When you take that step, it's taking that action. Okay, let's go and find out more. Let's go for a walk and have a chat. Let's go for a ride on our bikes, let's have a kick of the footy, whatever it is. Just do something and see where that leads, because you're never really sure where that's going to lead to. People talk more when they feel like they're being listened to. If you don't listen to your friends, or they don't listen to you when you're struggling, what do we tend to not talk about it, don't we? We think, no, I won't be listening. So we'll forget to apply to you one day and you're struggling. Always remember that. As I said, the really important thing is it gets better. I can't tell you how long it takes, what you need to do, who you need to talk to, your medication. Some people take medication, not everybody does. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can guarantee from my perspective, things get much better. You still have the days where I'm a Hawthorn supporter, we're not as good as we used to be. But I'm alright with that, I don't yell at the TV anymore. I don't go outside and sulk for 3 hours anymore after Hawthorn loses. So I can control my emotions a lot better than before. I couldn't do that because I wasn't in control of myself. One of the biggest things about it is the stigma. And I want you to walk out of this room today, that's one of the biggest things. It's okay to walk out. Just because you're feeling you're struggling, not coping, might shed a few tears, it doesn't make you not weak. It doesn't mean you're not a man. That's all garbage. We have emotions just like everybody else. It's okay to talk about them because it helps you feel better and it helps you deal with a mental health condition or just when you're struggling with life at the time. It's not the old days of, as I said before, just harden up. You'll get over it. There's things in life we just have to deal with. That's the way it is. Resilience is another story. But when you're with a mental health condition, it's not a matter of just getting over it, because you can't. I couldn't get over it. I needed that help. Has anyone got an Apple device? So we all know who Steve Jobs is, do we? Steve Jobs obviously left us very early in his life due to cancer, unfortunately. But he had this saying about connecting the dots. If anyone heard that? One of his speeches. He talks about you can only connect the dots looking backwards, so you can only actually see what's going to happen in life looking backwards. You can't actually see what's going to happen in life looking forward. You can have an idea, but you never know where life's going to lead you. And anxiety, you worry about the future all the time. You worry about what's going to happen next. What if this happens? What if that happens? And it's just this ongoing cycle. And I like that quote because, like Steve Jobs says, we've just got to trust. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to muddle through life. I wasn't the best student. You can go to university and college, wool school, sheep, wool, all that sort of stuff. Where I was back then, I would never have imagined where I am today, and that's the great thing about life. Okay, things might seem really tough, uncertain, but what you can control is where you are right now. When you feel anxious, try and remember that. And if it leads into an anxiety, an ongoing issue, that's where you really need to get help. And even if you don't feel like you have permission, I give you permission to talk about when you're struggling. Listen to others when they're struggling. Get help. Speak to the teachers, your family, whoever it is. Have that network of people you can talk to. Through all of it, don't forget to look after yourself. Self-care, really, really important. Thanks, boys.
behalf of all three houses here today, we'd like to thank you for coming in, giving up your time to speak to us. You know, it's a really hard thing. We really appreciate it, and we've got a small gift on behalf of those here today. It's great, cheers.
All right, gentlemen, thanks very much for your attention throughout the assembly. As you can appreciate, it is a very important topic, and for Garry to share what he did with us this afternoon was very special, very meaningful, and I hope it touched at least one of you. If that happened, then we've done our job. Alright, so thanks very much. What we're going to do now is darling nursery name here. Hayden and Mark, if you go back to your house groups, get the roll, and then we'll